We have a lot of monuments to former presidents who we consider great. You see the Lincoln Memorial, Washington Monument right there, majestic in its beauty. And several presidents are memorialized here in our nation's capital, but many of them are not. Today I'm going to ask Americans a very simple question. If there was a president they would like to see memorialized here in Washington, D.C., which one would it be? We have some other presidents that have passed away a long time ago, some more recently, that don't have monuments. If there was a president that you think deserves to be memorialized like this in Washington, D.C., which president would you pick?
That is really a hard question.
Man, that is an excellent question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Let me give you a few names. Chester A. Arthur. That's not a good name. William McKinley, Ulysses S. Grant, Teddy Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, Herbert Hoover. Everybody loves Herbert Hoover.
Right.
William Taft, Richard Nixon. Probably not.
No.
Obama.
Okay, I'm gonna put in a. This president has to be dead. Dwight D. Eisenhower.
I would go with Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy.
You think John F. Kennedy should have a memorial?
I still think Kennedy's one of my favorites.
I think he was trying to get the younger voters involved in politics in a positive way.
Why Kennedy?
Because my maiden name is Kennedy.
Okay, so it would really be a memorial to you as well. Although we hope you live a full and happy life and don't need a memorial anytime soon.
Look at John F. Kennedy. He doesn't really have a memorial,
No.
but people remember him, but he wasn't in office long enough to really prove what he could or couldn't do.
Yes. Although the one thing that he is given a lot of credit for is sending a man to the moon.
Right.
Right.
When you
They didn't
talk-
find anything though, so I don't know what that says about his legacy.
But you talk to the younger generation and they say that's just fake and it didn't really happen.
I'm going to step off the limb.
Oh, I don't think that many kids.
In Idaho, yeah.
I guess you're about the only person around that doesn't have TV coverage of the scene.
In Idaho, they
Yeah,
think the
it's
moon landing
kinda-
was fake?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have told me that. Now
Oh,
I'm going to
yeah.
have to do some research. Oh, man. What's wrong with Idaho?
Not necessarily as a president, but for what he did before he was president, I would say Eisenhower.
Maybe Reagan? Okay.
Somebody that, was in office during our lifetime.
I think Reagan.
Hoover?
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan.
He shaped how I think about politics today.
Well, what do you think a Ronald Reagan memorial would look like?
Probably has some horses and stuff like that in it.
Horses? He did love horses. Maybe it would just be him with a hammer knocking down a wall.
Good thing.
That would be pretty awesome, huh? On a horse.
And I think that anyone that's seeking this position, as well as other people probably, have thought to themselves, what about this, what about that?
And I would say Reagan was the greatest president. I don't know that it's an appropriate time to be looking for a monument for him.
It's funny because it seems like you have to let a generation pass before you really realize which presidents were good and which presidents were bad, because their actions have such long-term consequences. What about William Howard Taft?
No.
It would have to be a big memorial. I don't know where we'd put it.
Grant.
Ulysses S. Grant. That is a very interesting answer.
Yes.
Not considered to be such a great president, but once
Right.
again, a very, very important figure in American history.
It was my fortune, or misfortune, to be called to the office of Chief Executive.
As president, he was a really bad alcoholic, though. So maybe his memorial would be like a giant bottle of whiskey.
I would actually have to say Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy Roosevelt, the national parks. He was shot while on his way to go and give a speech.
And then he gave the speech. I'd like to see a giant statue of Teddy Roosevelt just blocking out the sun, because that's sort of what he was. Probably the most badass president we've ever had, regardless of what you think of his policies.
Oh, yeah.
Good answer, man. What about, what do you think Bill Clinton will ever have a memorial?
I can't see him being as monumental as the other.
You could make a little Clinton memorial, just a tiny replica of the Washington Monument. It would make perfect sense.